In 1994, the New London Group, which is composed of a group of literacy scholars, met to discuss the changing landscape of literacy in our globalized world. What came out of that meeting was a call for action to integrate technology, integrate multimodality, and cultural and linguistic diversity in schools. Hi, I'm Erin Silcox from TraumaInformedTeachers.com with practical tools for conscientious educators like you. And now, like I said, we're talking about multimodality. So I'm curious, do you know where our current understanding of multimodality came from? Do you want to know what laid the foundation for a broader definition of literacy in our schools? Well, stay tuned to learn more about the New London Group and their work on multimodality. At that seminal meeting in 1994, the New London Group discussed tensions between in-school and out-of-school literacies. Particularly, they wanted to reconcile school practices with what students would be expected to do, particularly in the world of work in our globalized economy with increased linguistic interaction, so interaction among people who speak different languages, using maybe different sign systems than language itself. And also just the expanding amount of tools that were starting to develop for communication. And those tools went beyond language. So what students were learning in schools did not match up with what was happening globally with literacy. And so unfortunately, they typically still don't. So the New London Group argued that centering a print-based and linguistic definition of literacy would not meet the current demands of the workplace. This really remains true, probably more so today than it did in 1994. According to Liu et al., which I'll link below, just like the New London Group article I'll link below as well, literacy in today's society is shaped by an increasing demand for workers to be competent users of information. These workers need to be capable of communicating using a wide range of modes, like I said, with individuals across global cultures and across languages. So this expanded definition of literacy takes into account several modes of communication. These modes include linguistic, or language, visual, or sort of elements of art in a way, spatial, which is a little bit more about design, digital, which means using technology to compose and consume literacy, gestural, meaning what we use with our body, what we can communicate without words and without other tools, and then aural, or qualities of sound. So like right now I'm talking really loud. Sorry if that annoyed you or surprised you, but right now I'm talking really quietly. Those are both examples of aural. This expanded definition of literacy also recognizes that the new demands of the workplace are fluid and unstable, unlike those of previously stable and relatively uniform industrial age of mass production. So no longer are we on assembly lines. Typically, machines are starting to be able to do those things. Workers today need to be able to act with, really think critically and also just work with multiple modes every single day. So according to Kress in 2000, no longer are centralized leaders communicating unidirectional demands to workers. Instead, once passive masses are now increasingly interactive agents of critical thinking and collaborative problem solving. Out of the New London Group came a new approach to literacy pedagogy that they call multiliteracies. This included increased access to technology, multimodality, and an increase in cultural and linguistic diversity in schools. So, although we could argue that all communication is multimodal, that what we write has visual elements of design, what we speak includes attention to how it sounds, even though we can kind of argue that, this increased attention to deliberately including multiple modes of communication in literacy classrooms was missing in 1994 and is still nascent in the dominant literacy instructional structures that exist in schools today. So I've got a whole series on multimodality. Stay tuned for way more information on what this means, what it looks like, and how it impacts trauma-affected youth.